And welcome back to the One That Celtic Fans View this evening. It is, it was a bit bright, I know, wasn't it? It is the Monday night, it is the night after the day before. How many people have got a hangover tonight? How many people are still a little bit tipsy? A little bit tipsy for last night, and how many people are thinking, like Chris Sutton, that Celtic could be done over by Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final? Not many. I'm going to say that I think Chris Sutton's just buying clicks to say the least. Let me just shut that right down. That's YouTube. Let me just do this. That's that one there. Few people online tonight. Tell me if you're online in the comments. Thomas Hanlon's in, Dave Morton's in, as always, first up. And Jake Hunt says, R.I.P. Pope Francis. Yes, it was emotional this morning, to say the least. And it's weird the way that different countries... We spoke about the sitting in a broken down on the truck. Could have been worse. Could be a Hun. Yeah, you could be Paradise Found says evening buzz. Yeah, we'll talk quickly about the Pope. It was emotional this morning when the news broke. Funnily enough, when I was live on air, and as he an olive, it was emotional because when you stay in a country that is predominantly Catholic, and there was an eeriness around where I stay today, and it was as if everyone knew that it was Easter Monday and the Pope had died, and there was nobody about, which was really weird. It was really weird. People had been working. You could hear people working away in their gardens and stuff, and then nothing. It's as if till way after 5-6 o'clock tonight that people had they take it a bit more serious than they do in the UK. And do you know what was really disappointing? I don't like talking about politics or religion because it does no good for the channel, but I went onto some of the Facebook pages and some of the news pages, and you get the usual nonsense. It would be the same if the Queen had died or the King died. But the bigotry that comes for that lot, I was like, my God. And I'm so lucky. Irishman in Porto says, here in Portugal, probably similar to Spain regarding Easter celebrations. And of course, R.I.P. Papa. Yeah, it is Irishman. You know this type of celebrations that they have at Easter in these countries, and it's different level stuff. I mean, I really feel cheated being brought up Catholic in Scotland. I've said that before. I really feel cheated being brought up Catholic in Scotland because you do not get to celebrate the way that they do in European countries. But anyway, we move on. I had my moment this morning, and yeah, I was even looking at flights to go to Rome. There's one thing that you want to try and do in life and try and see, and for me, one of them is being in St. Peter's Square when that white smoke comes out the chapel. And there's bucket list of things that you want to do. And for me, on a personal note, is one of those things. Now, Celtic did put a statement at 2:59 this afternoon. Celtic Football Club would like to express its deepest condolences following the death of Pope Francis, who passed away this morning at the age of 88. Everyone at the club is saddened by this morning's news, and we offer our sincere thoughts and prayers. Requiescat in peace. Short and sweet by Celtic, but to the point. Anyway, Nick Gold says, you know what I mean. But right, we move on. I lived in Maltabas. Felt like it was a Catholic holiday every weekend. It is, David. You've no. They take. When people talk about public holidays back home and bank holidays. Every single saint, every single. Do you know? It is. It's a way of life, and. Do you know that I don't want to go down this road. White Smoke, New Pope would be brilliant to witness. Exactly, Scotty boy, and I think that I'd love to see it. And I'm getting to an age where you're thinking, do you know, you're looking, you've maybe got 30, 40 years maximum, and there's certain things that you want to just go and see and go and witness. And that's one of them. That's one of mine. And if it wasn't for my daughter giving birth this week, it could have happened. But we'll wait and see. Anyway, we move on from that. Jota has taken to Instagram. Yes, Jota has taken to Instagram after his little moment with the fans, with one particular fan. And he has... he's posted a little picture of the Celtic fan base. Not just the one fan, he's took a picture of the Celtic fans. And he said, eternal echoes untouched by time. Eternal echoes untouched by time. That's a player that gets Celtic fans. And Jota posted that 8 hours ago, and it was just a picture. The first picture is obviously of the fans, the Celtic fans in mass in the stand, and then the next one is him smiling with a little lad doing the Jota pose. And I tell you one, have I still got that picture up? Jota, there we go. Yep, he's posted that picture on his Instagram. And by the way, my eyes are totally done in with it. Hay fever today because I decided to trim the massive garden that we've got, and the weeds were up to they're up to their knees. I was up to my knees in weeds. Don't even know where I'm going with that. Anyway, move on. That you guy has over 100k views on his Instagram. I bet he has. And the video of him running onto the pitch is absolutely fantastic. I've seen one of the Celtic sites posted it, and you actually see the video of him running onto the pitch and then trying to get Jota, and it's just one of those fantastic moments. And you know, people say, "Oh, shouldn't have been on the pitch" and all the rest of it, and it's like, come on, it's just a young guy, it's just a young lad. With young kids through the decades have done it, and the fact that in modern day age that he knew what he wanted to do, he waited for his moment, he waited on Jota scoring, he ran onto the pitch to film himself doing the Jota pose with Jota and then run back off the pitch. I just think that it's absolutely fantastic. Brendan for Pope trying to cheer up the one Celtic fan view. I actually got a picture sent. Can I get it off your WhatsApp? Give me 2 seconds and I'm going to get this picture off your WhatsApp. I'm not too sure how this will go down. Save to downloads. Is that saved to downloads on my phone? On the little thingy? Let me just see if I can get it on here. Jota team. So, yeah, we'll take that one down. Screenshot. What's up? There we go. Right, I'm not too sure how this will go, but I got sent this today. That's the team. It's not that one. It's this one. Yes, I did get sent this today. Until the end of the season was the message. Until the end of the season was the message. Not too sure how you feel about that, but it is Pope Francis. Yeah. Let's just get rid of that. Where is it? I can't even find it now. Oh my goodness. Team, that was it. It was that one. I told you, I didn't think it would go down too well, but anyway, I don't know how you feel about that one. Anyway, 118 views, if I say get the fingers out, Charlie's. There's been 294 views already, 177 people online. I got sent that as well, Buzz. I got sent it and I was like, oh, Jesus, man, that's too early. It's too early. But anyway, talking about pictures, did you see the picture of a wanted man having a Barclays on avocados? What? It's Tommy Burns would have been a candidate. Tommy Burns. Wow. Tommy Burns should be a saint, as far as I'm concerned. He should be a saint. We're waiting. The Rangers are coming now. Brendan's got a job to do in Glasgow. The Rangers are coming. I was going to say Larson for Pope, but he's already God. No, he's the King of Kings, and I don't think that the King of Kings can be God. Anyway, we move on. Chris Sutton, the whole video was about tonight. Chris Sutton has a surprising claim about Aberdeen as they try and stop Celtic from getting a third treble in a row under Brendan Rodgers. And I am eating olives tonight. Let's see. Chris Sutton claims that the Dons may well surprise Celtic in the final. Last time that Celtic met Aberdeen in the final, it was a little Aussie player called Tom Rogic, who broke away and fired an absolute cracker of a ball into the back of the net. And I was there that day, and it was absolutely fantastic. Before anyone thinks that it is in the bag, looking at the past results between Aberdeen and Celtic, especially at Hampden, Chris Sutton says Celtic can be given a run for their money by Aberdeen this time. He says when you look at the job that Jimmy Thielen has done at Aberdeen, he ran Celtic so close for the first half of the season. And would it just be, is it written, and I don't even want to say this, but would it be written in the stars? Hank, wait a minute, I've missed your first comment. George, don't give a shit what colour the next pope is, as long as we all love. West Brom have sacked the manager. Yeah, I know. I was going to get onto that, Paddy. Because it's Tony Mowbray. After a bad run of results. He fucking got sacked after St Mirren. He should never be playing in football again. Anyway, we move on. Why is there a petition for St Burns 100%? Is there? Sorry. Anyway, let's get back. I'm jumping in at the comments. Chris Sutton says that Celtic have not been beaten by Aberdeen in a very long time, but look at the recent results between the clubs and look how close that Aberdeen ran Celtic in the first half of the season. Aberdeen's last win over Celtic was back in May 2018 during Brendan Rodgers' first stint as Parkhead boss. Since then, after that 1-0 win at Celtic Park, there have been 29 fixtures between both teams, with Celtic unbeaten. Celtic have a fantastic tradition at Hampden, and it's a winning tradition, and it's a winning tradition that's went not only since Brendan Rodgers came in, but it goes a long way back. Now, of course, Aberdeen could upset the apple cart. From that treble of dominance by Brendan Rodgers first time round and winning the treble, beating Aberdeen at Hampden, is it written in the stars to beat Aberdeen again, or is it the revenge mission of all revenge missions and Aberdeen to beat Celtic? Trebles aren't for everyone, says William. Yes, they're not for everyone, and I think that the final, Aberdeen have got one game to focus on between now and then. Well, they've not, really. And this could play into Celtic's hand. this could play into Celtic's hands because Aberdeen want to finish as far up the league as possible. They know that if they're in the cup final and if they get beat to Celtic, they're in a European competition no matter what, and as runners up. Or are they? Could it be the fact that Aberdeen are still trying to get that third spot within the league? They've got a lot to play for to try and get that third spot. It's not without their grasp to try and get that third spot. Could that play into Celtic's hands because they are so focused? Because they're so focused on trying to get that third position in the league. If Celtic turn up, there's no chance Aberdeen will beat us, says Peter King. We played our best and Aberdeen won't even be close, says Chilpill. I think that Chris Sutton is just trying to get a little bit of headlines today for his article this afternoon. Aberdeen are still chasing third spot, says David. Yeah, we know that, and I think that could play into Celtic's hands. But what if Aberdeen, and what if Jimmy manages to get Aberdeen to go on the type of run that they had at the beginning of the season? What if they see, and the mindset of the Aberdeen manager now must be, look back to what you've achieved up until Christmas. Look at what you achieved for the first half of the season. You ran Celtic neck and neck. We beat them this season. Do you know, there's a lot of optimism that can come from the Aberdeen camp, and especially if they go on a run and manage to get third position in the league. There is a lot of optimism from Aberdeen going into the final. It's where Celtic and Brendan Rodgers is going to have to keep the players motivated. He's come out and said already that he's going to have personal targets for every single player to make sure that they are motivated going into the end of the season. And because every single Celtic player are playing for their positions. Excuse me, what are you doing? You'll rip the bed, crazy dog. Celtic going into the end of the season have to be focused and motivated, and this is a new thing. This is a new thing for this Celtic team, because last season it was nip and tuck with the league up until about March, and then we kind of went on a run. And this season we've seen it with players like Nico Kuhn, who hasn't been at their optimum, let's say. He hasn't been working at 110% of his capacity, let's say. And it's to try and get him and players like him motivated to know you've got this one big game. This is the game of the season. This is bigger than the Champions League games. This is bigger than the Premier Sports Cup. This is now bigger than the league, because the league is something that we've worked for a full season. This comes down to one game, and I need to pick a team that is completely motivated, that I know that will do what I ask them to do on the pitch, that I know that at the back of the player's mind, they're not thinking about what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time when the transfer window opens. That the player is thinking about the here and the now and making sure that Celtic pick up that trophy. Because we have to work for it. And Brendan Rodgers will say to these players, you're not on holiday yet. You're not on holiday yet. Just been up at Broad to see Jilly. She's so beautiful. Cheers, bro. Cheers, bro. I've been doing video calls nearly every day. It's a bit surreal, but it is what it is, and I'll be home in a couple of weeks. Anyway, Paul Baird says it's about Celtic and what they can do in the final. Is that my brother or is that my dad? Wait a minute. That's my dad. Cheers, Dad. Yes, yeah, I've been doing video calls with her dad. So yeah, it's all fine. And anyway, R.I.P. Papa Francesco. God grant you rewards to paradise. Yep. Eddie says when they went on their run, the one with the odd goal a few times, they were lucky. Their bubble burst. The 6 treble in years. Yeah, I know it's going to be the treble, but. Do you really think that Celtic will win 3 goals in the final? Yeah, I just noticed that, Dad. Did you notice that I went on? The two of you have the same fucking name on YouTube. That's what I mean. The two of you have the exact same name. I've got to go into the channel to see the channel name to see which one it is. God, no, my dad's getting my telling off on fucking YouTube. Dan Cassie says, hi to my family and friends on this page. Hail, hail to the mighty Celtic, into this rotten mob. Calm down, Baz. I can't. My dad's giving me a hard time on live on air. Jesus, fucking get the olives on the go. Anyway, Mr. Dumbelly is I'm not even want to talk about Mr. Dumbelly. Let's talk about the gulf between us and them, because there's quite a few articles tonight, this afternoon and tonight, about how much money Celtic have made compared to the Sevconians, Rangers, and UEFA prize money, as Celtic bank nearly 3 times as much as the Rangers so far. The financial gulf between Celtic and Rangers has been documented as having been widened even further by the latest UEFA report. Celtic's run to the knockoff playoff round in the revamped Champions League seen Celtic bank 28 million in prize money this season so far. Up to that point, Celtic received 18.62 million, 16 million pounds, just for appearing in the league phase. Celtic then received 4.4 million for reaching the playoff round, and a further 1.5 million, a further 8.75 million for bowing out to Bayern Munich in the first knockout round. After that defeat over the 2 legs, that's taken their total income to the campaign. Celtic have made 27.8 million pounds. Nearly 28 million pounds. Celtic have made from the Champions League, and that will go straight into the coffers of the PLC. Brilliant for your dad. Hibs for third this year. Mon the dad. We have a vault in the piggy bank. We've got more than a vault in the piggy bank. It's a fucking shaft. Get your dollar in for the chat, Baz. He's back home in Scotland. He's completely nuts. He was good mates with Roy Aitken. He'll tell you himself. He was good mates with Roy Aitken back in the day. Very good mates with Roy Aitken. And Bobby Lennox. There you go. Baz, get a poll on. Get your Jan on the channel. Maybe when I get home. Poor Baz getting built up his face there. I know, I'm live on here as well. When I get back to Scotland, I'll get him on. We'll do a live and I'll get him on just for the banter. As long as he doesn't tell you stories about Butlins and Roy Aitken and shit. Roy Aitken will never speak to him again. 28 million. Got to be much more than that, surely. No, that's the numbers. That's the number that's been. You've got to remember that 28 million from the Champions League is only the prize money. Jamesy boy, that's not the ticket money. That's just the prize money. That's nothing to do. That's not the ticket money. That's not merchandise. That's not all the add-ons that Celtic will have brought in from the Champions League. That is just purely prize money from UEFA. That's not Celtic selling tickets. Celtic would have made millions and millions off of ticket sales from the Champions League game. No pocket money for Baz, not definitely not. Can you see Dyson getting 40 or more goals by the end of the season? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Still got tickets and TV money on top of that, etc. Yep. Exactly. You've still got the TV money to be factored into that, and then you've still got the ticket money. The ticket money for Celtic would be over 6 to 8 million, I would say. This year we're probably around about 70 million, and that's just from the Champions League. Just for the Champions League. I wonder how the Adidas deal has done this year, because if you remember last year in the accounts that were released by Celtic made over 32 million just from selling Adidas merchandise. Now, the fact that we're on course to make over 50 million from Champions League, added, say we make 25 million from merchandise from Adidas, and then we bring in the season ticket money, Celtic are on course to make over 110 to 20 million this season. Quite right, my dad's 75 still gives me pelters. Exactly. 28 million is nothing when you look at the relegated teams for the English Premier League. Yeah, that's pie money. It is. 40 to 50 million, those Champions League games with the extra 2 games, including, we should buy an American club. Oh God, here he goes. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, see, this is why I didn't get him on alive. This is why I didn't get him on alive. Oh God. Oh Jesus. What pictures has he got on his channel? Jesus Christ. What? That's Jamesy Cotter. It's the wrong channel. Where am I? Jesus. I'm just reading. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Anyway, I'm missing the comments, so I'm not even going to. Jesus, I've heard them since I was like for the 80s. Jesus. Anyway, I would say 50 million at least from the Champions League. Slow night in the news today, says Empty Cells. Oh God, Jesus! I'm going to block him for this. Can you block Kieran Daff for the channel? Get my time out. And that's the new. That's not. It is a slow news night. It's the night after getting through to the Scottish Cup final. There is absolutely no. Salt. There's no salt. There's no salt in Spanish olives. If there's salt in olives, you're eating the wrong olives. I shave my head, so if I grew my hair lanky, I'd probably be the same as my old man. Oh, Jesus God. The charts just went downhill. God has infiltrated the chart. Anyway, the golf and prize money Celtic have earned just from prize money from UEFA. Celtic have earned over 28 million. The reason 28 million this season so far, as whilst the Sevconians, yes, whilst they got to Bilbao and they got to the end of the Europa, they banked 3.7 million pounds, and then they won another 2.1 million. They got an additional 500,000 bonus. They got another 1.5 million. In total, they got £9 million in prize money from Europa. Well, Celtic got way more than that, and the price of the tickets is way more also. Anyway, yeah, it is a slow news night when I'm talking about that shit. And sad news tonight, not only did Papa Francesco sadly pass away this morning, another Celtic historian, if you remember, towards the middle of last year, we reported the fact that Davy Potter, who was an official Celtic historian and wrote over Jesus, it must have been about 40 odd books with regards to the history of Celtic, and he had been recognised by Celtic as official historian. There's been other sad news reported by the Ottawa's Celtic Supporters Club in Canada that Tom Campbell, the author of Celtic books and a Celtic historian, has sadly passed away after a short illness in hospital. So our thoughts and prayers with Tom's family and the Celtic Supporters Club that he's part of. Some of the sad news is well-known historian Tom Campbell passed away in hospital in Ottawa on Thursday, aged 92, after a short illness. Tom was the founder and member of the Celtic Supporters Club here in Ottawa. He was a regular attender at games right up until he entered hospital a couple of weeks ago. He will be sadly missed. It's very sad news when any of the people that devote such an amount of time to writing about Celtic and writing books, and I don't mean guys that do it for journalists, for rags and that. I mean just like normal guys that I mean, Davy Potter, he was a teacher. He was a high school teacher. His first love was cricket, but he had followed Celtic since the 1960s, and he started writing about Celtic a long time ago. And like Tom Campbell, these people have a love and an affiliation to Celtic, and it's sad. It's always sad when a member of that coveted band of men that write about Celtic so intelligently and so lyrically that when they pass, it is a sad time, because let's face it, the up and coming breed of potential future journalists couldn't lay a glove, as they say, couldn't lay a glove on these type of people. Baz says, see when you're coming home, have you know, to go out and play? I will be going out to play. David says, we would have made 15 million for the home games. Yeah, we would have made at least that. Hampden might be a shit stadium, especially if your seat is behind the goals, but they have hot water. What a luxury. Sarah, she's already had it. It's another girl. She had it at the weekend. She had it a week ago, actually. So yeah, another girl in the family. I've kind of kept it quiet, but oh God. Right, my dad wants me to tell you about his claim to fame. Claim to fame. I'm going to put this on once this video is finished. I'll put it to members only. So people that are watching it just now, people that are watching this just now, it will only be members that will get to hear this after that. So back in the when I first went to Spain, thank you, Lanky, thank you. Love Davy Potter's book. Hank, do you know one of the things is, see when I first started this channel, Davy Potter, I used to sit and talk to Davy Potter on the bus back home. We would come out and I would be last out the stadium, but Davy Potter always sat down the front of the bus, and I would come onto the bus and I would stand at the front because I was bus convener at that time, and I would sit and talk to Davy and I would get his views on it. And at that time, Davy Potter was doing a match analysis for one of the Celtic websites, and I would get a first insight into his. He was such a knowledgeable person when it came to football, Davy Potter. But anyway, we move on because I'm trying to put off this last bit. Congratulations to your sister and her partner. Yes, thank you for that. Congratulations, Grandpa, great grandpa. Yeah, right. Anyway, I'm just waiting for the viewers to go down so that once I can put this. It sounds like the Masons. No, it's not. Right. So when I was 15 and a half, I left school and I went to stay with my dad in Salou in Spain. I need to give you the whole story, the whole backstory, because there's no use just giving you his little diluted version of the whole penny arcade thing. And you'll laugh at this. You will laugh at this. So when I left school at 15 and a half, and I went and stayed with my dad in Salou in Spain, because he was a musician and he was working in Salou at the time. So years later, a few years later, he went to work in Tenerife, and times got a bit hard for the old man, and he ended up working in the Ibrox bar. Yes, my father worked in the Ibrox bar as a musician. So he used to do songs, and he had a CD that he had out at the time, and it had You'll Never Walk Alone, and it had Penny Arcade on it. And a certain goalkeeper from Rangers at the time said to my old man, you've got to remember that this goalkeeper was a big bigot. He was right up with the UDA and everything. He turned around to my old man and said, Jimmy, you're a wee Tim, aren't you? And my dad turned around to Andy Gorham and said, how the fuck do you know Andy? How the fuck do you know my Tim? And I has to finish singing the Penny Arcade. So, and then Andy Gorham says, Jimmy, you didn't know any of the lyrics to any of our songs. And my dad turned around and told him the story about Roy Aitken, and the fact that Roy Aitken said, we don't know the fucking words to the sash, because by the time you get to the fucking first verse, we've usually scored. And then my dad said, yep, I've got fucking umpteen wains back in Scotland, and all the money that I'm taking out the Ibrox bar in Tenerife is going right back to my Catholic wains in Scotland. Boom, boom, there we go. And he was the one that used to get them singing Penny Arcade. And then they started singing it at Ibrox. Now you could, where is it? Wait a minute. Where is it? It's about here somewhere. I'll get you the DVD. But anyway, I've still got the CD somewhere. I'll find it. So this CD had You'll Never Walk Alone in it, a lot of other songs, and my old man singing Penny Arcade. So the stupid Huns started singing a song that a wee Tim had them singing in the Ibrox bar in Tenerife. That's his claim to fame. That's my old man's claim to fame. And it used to wind up Huns unbelievable. And there was one time, the old fucker, is he still online? He tried to get me to walk into the Ibrox bar. He would never take me around the front door, right? Never take me around the front. So he goes up this side street, and he goes in this side door. And the wee smart fucker, my dad's only a wee man. So he goes in, he opens this door and he walks in. He's like, I need to go and see somebody. And I fucking went to the door and I went, oh, the fucking no chance. Not a fucking chance. And he said, just come in. And I said, not a fucking, I will never step foot in that fucking doorway. No way. And he was pissing himself laughing. He's like, just come in. I said, fuck off. Not a chance. Not a chance. Anyway, Jesus. What a laugh. Yes, so my dad's to blame for them singing Penny Arcade. And it's fucking hilarious. I need to find the CD. It's kicking about here somewhere. I had it last week. I'll get the CD and I'll post it up. But anyway, the fact is that they follow everything that we do. Everything that the Huns do is because of Celtic fans. Anyway, fuck me. He had to get me to say that live on air, didn't he? Somebody's probably just fucking recorded this and that's it. It's out there forever. I'll just make this video just like the private after this. Anyway, that is my old man who worked in Salou for a good few years, and that was my first incursion into Spain, and realised that this is a fantastic country. Anyway, we move on. Well done, your old man. I can. And I think once it came out that it was a Tim that got them started singing the Penny Arcade, I think that's when they decided to ditch it, because they don't sing it anymore at Ibrox. Funnily enough, they don't sing it anymore at Ibrox. So anyway, every time that song came on, I'd be like, oh, fucking Penny Arcade, man. Fuck are they doing? Where did they get this from? But anyway, they have such B-list celebrities. The funny point is, didn't he? Because my old man was singing, and I'd be like, fuck are they singing that song for? And I didn't know that my old man was working in that bar at this time. And I'm like, these fucking dirty early bastards are singing that fucking song that's on my dad's CD. But anyway. Oh, Jesus, the banter. So don't tell anybody. It's out there. There's been over 1,000 views on this. But anyway, that's my dad's claim to fame. And he was good mates with Roy Aitken. And it was Roy Aitken that gave me my first tickets. A lot of people know that. Roy Aitken gave me my first ticket to my first ever Celtic game. That's why they're trying to buy projects to sell them, because they're doing it for years. I should get one. Fuck off, no chance. Oh, Rob, did fucking not get one. Lanky, it was actually a good song before they sang it. I need to find this CD. I've probably put it away somewhere for safekeeping. You know, one of those ones. It's funny that it's ended up back in Spain after all these years. Anyway, I'll buy a membership just to see your old man sing on air. Do it. If we get 10 membership, I'll put it on the membership. There's a thing, yeah. I'll put it on the membership. We'll do a members only. It used to do You'll Never Walk Alone. So anyway, they butchered it. Right, everything's gone. A little bit of news coming out of Ireland. I'm looking at the live Derry Easter Rising stuff that's going on in Derry, and there's it's like the polos are out in force, as you would expect them to be, up the Derry lads. And hasta mañana, peeps. Yeah, we've been on for far too long. I was only going to stay on for half an hour tonight. Definitely do it for charity buzz. I think if I was to do a Celtic night back in Scotland, I would definitely get my dad to come to that. Try and get Roy Aitken to come too, but the two of them would they wouldn't want to talk about stuff. Because Roy would be like, don't fucking even talk about that. What happened in the 80s stayed in the 80s. Anyway, on that note, do a quick check of Celtic news. Celtic's most... Tony Mowbray's been sacked after a series of poor results. What a shame. There's not a lot of Celtic news kicking about tonight, so we're just kind of making up chat as we're going along. When it comes to Celtic transfers, the transfer speculation has just completely dried up. There is absolutely nothing coming out of Celtic whatsoever. Anyway, let me just shut down some of these pages. As usual in Derry Baz, yep, it is. Yep, my dad talking about the time that Roy Aitken took us round Celtic Park. We went through the trophy room, and I've spoken about this many a time. Paul McStay was the only person on the pitch, even though they'd been down at Barrafield doing training. Paul McStay was still doing sprints up and down the pitch. We went to Skelly's for lunch, and I'm sitting with Davy Provan. I'm sitting with Murdo McLeod, who bought dinner that day. I'm sitting with my dad. I'm sitting with Roy Aitken and Frank McGarvey. Frank McGarvey was the other one. In walks Tommy Burns with his missus, and in a big raincoat and his wee round glasses. And I was totally amazed that Tommy Burns had walked in. Paddy Bonner was there that day as well, and it was absolutely fantastic. So there you go. A little insight to the history of me and Celtic and my old man. Mowbray doesn't half get the jobs. I don't know how he gets the jobs. No idea how he gets it. Catholic Rebels just came in. 2 hours to go to work. Jesus. KT 100 games for Arsenal. I was Davy Proven's parents' milk boy. There you go, Jamesy boy. There you go. Just shows you it's a small world. Kieran, that's a strange one, that even though Kieran Tierney's been at Arsenal for so long, he's only played 100 games for Kieran Tierney. Murdo Clement used to visit my children's home back in the 1990s. I've said to Murdo that I'm due him lunch. I remember messaging him years ago, a few years back before he got ill, and said that I'm due him lunch one day. And I told him the story, and he's like, you knew that you couldn't be making it up, because it was that hours. But anyway, absolutely fantastic guys. Back in the day when football players didn't earn the money that modern football players do. And on that note, it's been a strange kind of evening. We have went up to 21,527 subscribers. I see up there we have got the live count up and working again. Celtic will be Scottish champions for the 55th time, hopefully this weekend, if we could beat Dundee United, and if Brendan Rodgers can get a monkey off his back with trying to beat Dundee United. And on that note, I think we're going to call it quits for the night. There has been over 1,200 people on the live tonight. We'll do a live tomorrow morning. We'll do a live tomorrow morning. Do a live at 9 a.m. Celtic part-time tomorrow. But as we story about Tina Turner, Simply the Best, my wife, that's her own song, Sevco Arseholes, stole the decking thing, yeah. They stole so many. Do a breakfast live. Yeah, I'll do a breakfast live. Do a breakfast live at 9 a.m. Celtic part-time. This means I've got to run out to work after that. Well done on the subs. Thank you everyone. Thank you to everyone. And I mean that. I know it's just a number, but thank you to every single person that has. And I tell you one thing, if the whole 21,527 people were to log on to every single video that we posted, it'd be happy days. Big shout out to Chilpill, big shout out to David Lamont, Sean Short, Hank, Paul, Chilpill, Catholic Rebel, Jamesy Boy, Robert, and Joe, and many, many more. Happy Easter. It's Easter Monday. Go and chill out. A lot of you will be back to work tomorrow. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Is that bad, putting Lenny up? Oh, Jesus. I'll die for that.